Three Grots in a Vox is intended for a mature audience. This means there will be crude language and discussions of adult themes, especially if we're talking about tactical marines or Gabriel Seth. Viewer discretion is not only advised but encouraged. All opinions are our own and often given for humorous purposes. Any advice is given largely for entertainment purposes and would probably be ignored. But if you do learn something useful, count it as a win.
Welcome to this week's Three Grots in a Vox podcast. I started it way before you guys were ready, right?
Nah, it's fine. Let's go with it. It's better than the usual cold open bullshit where
Yeah,
somebody's telling you to go for.
that was a real cold
Trying
open
to
because
tell
we
a
were
joke.
just chatting shit.
Yeah.
Absolute nonsense about my ridiculous beard going on. It's got
That's
to go.
good. So in true I was going to say in true fashion. Then let's chat shit for 10 minutes. How are you?
I'm good. If you want to hear some real shit, I was at a Warhammer 40k LARP over the weekend in Manchester, where my character, who's a very devout and above board and archetypal missionary ecclesiarchy priest type who carries a thunderhammer and a flamer and everything, and he gave a little speech to everyone. And I've got a little bit of the speech here if you want to hear it, because apparently it made a few
Absolutely,
people,
I do.
have some responses to it. So the situation is that the sector has all gone to hell, and we've been stuck in the warp for the past 2 years, and some big chaos empowered thing has come out of nowhere and decided to just try and take over the sector. So everything's gone to shit. We're in the last 3 events of the game before the Chronicle finishes in a great big climactic battle and so forth. So I'm trying to motivate everybody is the idea. So this little speech that goes, there is an ancient Terran saying that goes, those who plant dates do not harvest dates. That's because date palm trees take 80 to 90 years to bear the fruits. Once, a young man met an old monk planting dates and asked, why are you planting dates if you know you will not harvest them? Wisely, the old monk replied with a kind smile on his face, my son, go eat a fat dick. The yard is mine. I plant whatever the fuck I want. Apparently, they weren't expecting that from my missionary character.
No,
Imagine why.
I can't. That was not the direction I thought you were going in at all.
So, yeah, there you go. That was my weekend.
I was going to say, I felt like we were about to get into Mission on Darktide, the three of us. We've not played that in ages.
Yeah,
And then it was like, and you have to eat the dicks. Okay.
that's definitely not where I was expecting to go, but I quite enjoyed it.
Excellent.
Right, so what are we talking about this week?
Alcohol and stuff.
Other than
Oh, I need
booze.
to share a thing. Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
What
Are
are we
you-
talking about this week?
We're talking about Firestorm Detachment.
Firestorm? Isn't that the Salamanders one?
Well,
Ah.
whatever it is, it was a Patreon backer request, so we're absolutely going with it.
Right. So we're talking about the Firestorm, which is the Salamanders one, and we've got some Blood Angels.
Yeah, definitely.
But first, I need to pour myself a little drinky because
Blood Angels can field plenty of flamers. I have tried to really embody the
Although,
flamer in my
I am
version of
sad
this.
that we can no longer field the 4 heavy flamer Devastator squad. I did look.
but you can
Oh.
field an extremely close replacement instead. So that's definitely a good thing.
Oh, which is
especially now
the-
they've been buffed recently.
5 Infernus Marines squad.
Yeah, which are basically heavy flamers these days.
Yeah, they are.
That's very true. What the Stern Guard used to be able to take a couple of heavy flamers, right? Was that right?
Yeah.
2 multi melters
They
or 2 heavy
all their-
flamers?
Got their combis or their bolters.
And that's and
Yeah.
they get one. They get a couple of heavy bolters every 5 man gets a heavy bolter as well. I think.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a little bit disappointing. I forgot that Devastators could even take. And while we're talking Devastators, did you guys see that a Blood Angels list with a squad of Devastators came 3rd at Las Vegas Open?
Is this
I
the
didn't
this
spot
one
that.
run by Messi? I think his name was.
No, this was run by Jack Harpster, who
Oh,
won
okay.
LVO last year, but he had a squad of Las
Oh,
Cannon
we know
Devastators.
We're well aware
Um,
of the good Mr. Harpster. Yes.
And I'm like looking at it and saying, like, that's sort of like the 1,000,000 to 1 bet on the football, right? Like, nobody predicted that you would get Devastator squad in the top 3 at LVO. I was like,
It
what on earth?
wasn't just running Devastators. It was running Angelic Inheritors as well. It was running the Grotless Detachment.
Yeah.
It's not about though the Devastators, because like we've done tier lists plenty of times, and like almost anything on a tier list is a viable good unit if you've got a specific use case for that unit. You know, when we're doing tier lists and things like that, we say, oh, this unit's a bit crap. It's because it's got very few use cases, and we would prefer something that's either got a more obvious use case or a more versatile unit. You know, in Angelic Inheritors, you've got the rerolls in there, and he clearly found that 4 las cannons sitting up a corner somewhere would be handy.
Plus, the good Mr. Harpster is in a very rare position in that he knows the ins and outs, extremely detailed, of basically everything in the game. Because he plays and runs it and is on with a crew that plays and runs almost every army in the game. So that in itself is a superpower. So
I'm going to make confession now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've been playing Blood Angels for a very long time.
Okay.
Quite a lot of them. I don't own a Flame of Baal.
That is a bit disappointing.
Not one. Surely you've got the parts though, right? Did you never bought one and you still have the top cannon somewhere on a sprue?
Probably used it for a basing somewhere or something, but no, I've got.
You always went Dakar, did you?
I've got 3 Dakar Baals because like the original Baal Predator, which I would love one of the old hybrid metal kits.
Oh yeah,
was a Dakar. That was the Baal Predator. Had twin assault cannons, and that's what it was.
And the Dakar one was cool. And
there was I'm such a like old school purist. To me, the Baal Predator is the Dakar Predator. And what really drives that home is in Heresy. Of course, they've brought the Baal Predator to Heresy. Doesn't have a flamer. It's got Dakar. The flamer one is just a generic Predator that anybody could take.
Okay, fair. Makes sense.
Baal Predators
the defining trait of the Baal was always the overcharged engines, though, as far as I was concerned.
Overcharged Dakar thing was the Lucifer pattern engines and the lots of shots, which when you go back to like 3rd edition, things like that was a big deal, all those shots. Twin assault cannon was horrendous.
Yeah, it was good back in the day, wasn't it?
This last couple of editions, as it sort of transitioned away from the classic weapons, like assault cannons have been left further and further behind. You know, your onslaught Gatlings and things like that. And I think it's quite sad because assault cannons are cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the 4th video in our series of detachments that we've focused on. We've done Liberator Assault Group, we've done Ironstorm, we've done Stormlance, and now we're doing Firestorm.
So, if anybody wants some more information about those attachments, please check out the other videos. They will be linked somewhere.
Yeah, if we remember to link them, maybe, or if John does his job.
John.
Yeah.
So, without any further ado, let's get into this now.
Okay. The premise that we originally had when coming up with this series is we build like a couple lists and do it as like kind of like a getting started. So you do like your first 1,000 points in your army, then you expand it out to 2,000. And these are 3 ways in which you could do that based on the 3 ways in which we would do that without consulting with each other. So it'd be interesting to see what sort of similarities there are
just in case we end up with 2 lists that are basically the same.
Yeah.
We haven't had that happen yet, though, right? Like we've done 4 episodes and it just hasn't happened. We've all got our own playstyles, I guess.
Yeah, and we've come close. Common elements because there's always going to be common elements, but we've done all right, I think. Anyway, you're right. Let's have a look at what the first thing is. Oh, someone's tried to be sensible and give a bit of a view of what is involved in this detachment first.
I thought I'd put it all up because I guess Firestorm doesn't get run too often.
Yep.
It's funny, so when they first come out, Firestorm and Ironstorm were the 2 that everyone jumped on as being the strongest.
Yeah.
But Firestorm never seemed to actually tip over into sort of seeing lots of use.
Firestorm requires a very ballsy play style with getting up close and personal very quickly, which is not something a lot of people are comfortable with playing as a game style unless they're just having a laugh. Whereas Ironstorm was very powerful all the way from the get-go.
Yeah, and I think there's rumours now that there's going to be a Salamander Codex, right? Like, we'd actually planned to do this video before they made that, before the LVO. Like, we planned to film this video for a few weeks. And the LVO preview, they showed a picture of it was like greyed out.
A Salamander picture in there, yeah.
Yeah.
It makes me hope the Vulcan's coming.
That would be nice.
That would be cool, wouldn't it?
It could pop up any point they feel like. So it'd be nice, wouldn't it, to have a big Salamanders release led by Vulcan?
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
So
there a chapter that doesn't get a lot of love.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing about this attachment, like when I had a quick look at it based on like the rules here, and you get every weapon gets assault basically, and with your 12 inches you get +1 strength. You do have stratagems to give flamers devastating wounds. If you've got some captains in there, you can potentially do that just for 1 CP now. I guess you couldn't do that when this detachment first came out, right? Which you can do now. So I guess captains attached to flamer units, potentially dev wounds from a lot of flamer shots.
Yep.
And the other thing you can also get is +1 to wound, which is pretty useful if your flamers have +1 to strength within 12 inches. And then the thing about the +1 to wound strat is you can use it in melee as well. So if you have aggressors, which are good with flamers, then you can use +1 to wound when they flame. You can use +1 to wound again in the next phase as well to get +1 in combat. So I think it's cool. I just put these back here. If we need to flip back and reference them, they're there.
Yeah, absolutely. The enhancements are interesting. Anything you want to particularly call out?
Maybe this is controversial. I think the enhancements are a bit shit.
Yeah.
The only one I really liked was Forged in Battle. And that's a guaranteed number 6 is just annoying.
Yes. Yeah, I kind of agree.
I didn't think they were very good. Like +3 strength. All right, brilliant. That's great. That's going to do a lot. For 25 points as well.
Yeah, that's way over.
That's a lot of points. +3 strength.
A lot of points. Right. One's Tacticus only, but what fucking Tacticus characters are we bringing? And it's not amazing. Adamantium Mandal. Oh, that sounds exciting. Oh wait, only works on the bearer, so the whole unit's got to be dead before it does anything.
Yeah,
that's a useful use of 20 points. So I was really disappointed with the enhancements for this detachment.
I think that's fair.
I just couldn't see any real use for them apart from just being annoying with Forged in Battle.
That's fair. And quickly looking at the stratagems, you've got Armor Contempt, which is Universal Space Marines. You've got 2 stratagems based on damage output, and you've got 3 stratagems contingent on using transports and using transports.
Yeah.
Which kind of tells you what playstyle it wants you to take the detachment.
It does.
As they all do, really. So, without any further ado, who we got first?
Why am I going first? I don't go first.
You go first, apparently.
Oh, right.
Unless it's a giant fake out by John and he's slides in a weird order.
I don't like this. I don't like going first.
Do you know?
Okay.
Right, fine. Go back.
Oh, right.
Right, so I had a look at this and I was reading it through, and I feel in some ways that we may, as in like a collective community, have made a mistake with this detachment.
Right.
Okay.
Where does it say it's a Salamanders detachment? Like everyone says it's the Salamanders detachment. If you go back to the strats for a second,
yep,
one of these benefits flamers.
Yep.
Okay, brilliant. All right, bonus. Right,
okay.
Let's carry on then. So I've decided that rather than going Salamanders, I think this makes a better Imperial Fists.
I was wondering why the interesting choice of background there.
So I've gone kind of Crimson Fist with this because actually +1 strength at close range. That's quite handy. I know what that's going to benefit. Flip
What's
over.
that benefit? Okay.
Mass bolters.
Yep, that is absolutely fair.
Like, especially heavy intercessors. Now, I like heavy intercessors, and I think the only person that didn't like the change to heavy intercessors.
Yep.
So go hold on a minute. Heavy Intercessor's rifle now is 2 shots, strength 5, AP 1, 2 damage. That was the change?
3 shots.
Pardon?
3 shots.
3 shots.
I think. Might even be 4, actually.
Okay. All right. Keep going.
So that's a lot of shots. Now, what's really important about that is it's strength 5.
Yep.
Now, it might just be a local meta thing, but I fight a lot of toughness 10 shit.
Okay.
That's true.
Which is very annoying because it means the strength 5 things are wounding on a 6.
Correct.
Yeah.
Strength 6 things, on the other hand, are wounding on a 5. Strength 6 things with a lot of shots, potentially +1 to wound, and 2 damage and AP -1 is actually fairly efficient at killing, well, more or less anything, really.
Yep.
As long as it's up to toughness 10, that's quite dangerous.
Yep.
Actually, up to toughness 11, right?
Yeah, that's doing it all right, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
so
also
I've
worth
got a
noting.
Librarian Terminator armor.
Yeah.
Which gives a nice bit of sustained fire.
Okay.
You can sustain 2.
Yeah.
In a Terminator squad. And I've put the assault cannon in. I think that's the first time I've put an assault cannon in, but I thought, do you know what would be nice? More shots with devastating wounds.
Okay, cool.
And an extra pip of strength on that as well. So we can teleport down. We've got some fairly chunky amount of fire from a squad and a little bit of melee ability, because I've really lent away from the melee with this.
Tony
Sure.
takes Terminators in a list. In other news,
Oh,
Bear
well, I know.
takes dumping
I
ones.
just think they're brilliant. If you want something that's going to land on a point and be annoying, I've got 3 sets of Eradicators because I think statistically they are the most efficient anti-tank we have.
Yep.
Do you know what makes them better? Strength 10.
+1 to strength. Yeah. Is that what they are? Strength 9 on Eradicators, so this makes them strength 10.
But they've got rerolls, which
Nice.
makes
They
them,
get full hit, wound, and save, and damage rerolls, don't they?
you know, they're even better when you're running on a 4 anyway.
It's also worth noting as well, because this army does not include any Black Templars or Blood Angels or Dark Angels or Death Watch or Space Wolves keyed units. You also benefit from the +1 to wound when you crack your oath as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow,
I
okay.
can +1 to wound with a strat. I can +1 to wound with oath. All of my stuff is hitting actually pretty hard. And I thought, you know what this army lacks? AP.
Yep, that's fair.
So a Storm Speeder at Hail Strike giving it +1 AP to something.
Isn't there a limitation on that? Does it only
Only works on
specific units? Okay.
Oh, well, that's okay. Because I've got a lot of AP1
Yeah.
from the Heavy Intercessors and the Terminators. And then I've got AP4, don't need it.
Yep.
So the anti-vehicle doesn't need it anyway, but the anti-infantry actually having a lot of AP2, 2 wound, multiple shots for into like custodes or something, put them on their invul anyway.
Just going off rate of fire.
I was going to say the smite from the librarian could be pretty handy as well.
And smite from the librarian could be pretty handy. So it's also one of the cheaper lists that I've put together for one of these.
Okay.
Only £311 direct from GW. It's a lot cheaper if you look around for things as well, because a lot of these units have popped up before in kind of various boxes and things. So I just thought a little bit less field
with the 15 to 20% discount by using our Element Games affiliate link.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I thought I'd go a little bit left field, and because the initial response is, flamers.
Yeah.
I thought, no, actually, what else? What's really going to benefit? Because a flamer going up to tough strength 4, okay. Sorry, strength 5. Yeah, okay, but am I getting a huge benefit from that? A Pyre Blast to go up to strength 6, that's maybe better again for that tipping over, but it doesn't have any AP.
Oh, Pyre Blasters do have AP. They're AP1 now.
Got buffed in the last data sheet. Yeah.
But anyway, so I just thought, you know what?
That's it. Good
huge weight to fire could be quite a nasty little thing, and I don't think people would be expecting to play against that.
No, people wouldn't be expecting to play against that, and Eradicators at strength 10 is probably quite meaningful. With potential +1 to wound, actually, it's crazy.
And of course, you've got nothing less than T5 in the list.
Oh, everything's heavily armoured, everything's heavily armed. It's a bit weak in melee. But this is just designed to get up close and just machine gun everything to death.
Yeah.
So when you've been building out to 2,000 points, have you addressed the weakness in melee, or you just lent right on into it?
To an extent.
Off this is you're not using any of the 3 transport-based attachments, and you're not using the Torrent Dev Wound stratagem either.
I don't need to. I'm going to spend all those points on +1 wound.
Fair enough. Or armor contempt, yeah.
Because I'm only getting a couple of CP a turn anyway, so by the time I've used them on the things I need to use them,
cool.
I'm not going to have loads of spare. So let's flip over and turn it up to 2,000 points.
All right.
Because what you do here is you double down.
Of course you do.
So I thought, what would help this out? 2 great big fat squads of 10 intercessors.
Okay.
With a lieutenant in each one.
Right. What does a lieutenant give that is worth putting him in there?
Lethal hits.
All right.
All right, cool, yeah.
And the ability to fall back and shoot and charge if they want.
So now what I've got is 10-man squads that have got an unbelievable rate of fire these days.
Yep.
Because they now gain +2 shots per man.
Yep.
If you're trying to get the same thing. So that's an insane amount of shots. All with lethals. The fact they're only strength 5 at close range isn't quite so important when there's that many lethal hits shots going in.
You're going to be spending 3/4 of your time rolling the dice and picking.
I know, it's ridiculous. I've gone with a horde army.
Yeah.
But what makes that better? +1 wound. What makes that better? I brought a second hail strike so they can get an extra point of AP.
Well, you're gonna evaporate infantry pretty effectively, I would thought.
Evaporate most things, the extra point of AP is a problem against some monsters and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
AP2. So how many shots is that going to be per match? So it's 3 shots base +2. So it's 5 shots. It's 50 shots per squad with lethal hits.
Okay.
Is it as much as 50? Intercessors only have rapid fire 1, right?
They get a special
like
phase where if the whole unit targets one enemy unit, they get extra shots.
Mm-hmm. But they're
bonus shots each man.
Sorry, bolt rifles now are heavy assault, strength 4, -1, 1 damage, 2 shots, right? Base. Is that all right?
Yes. I think so.
So it would be so it's 40 shots.
But still.
But still, I mean, 40 AP1 shots or AP2 shots with +1 to wound, rerolling all hits potentially, lethal hits. It's death by 1,000 cuts, really. And if you manage to stand still, then you hit on 2s.
Yeah. And even so, it's still strength 5 if they get close.
Yeah, true. If you move up close.
So I kind of sort of doubled down on the sheer amount of bolter output.
Yeah, that's a crap load of bolters.
That's a lot of bolters, and that's a lot of DACA.
So how are you arming your Centurions?
Sorry?
How are you arming your Centurions?
I haven't made my mind up on this because I quite like the idea of melter guns, just because again it puts them up to strength 10.
True.
Strength 10 melter guns is not a bad thing to have. You can go flamers, and then you could use the torrenty strap. But you know what else you can use that on? The Land Raider Redeemer.
I was about to say, I assume they're going in the Redeemer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also enough space in that Redeemer to chuck something else if you really want to. But I don't think actually looking at it, I don't think it can fit.
Centurions 3, right? So that'd be that'd be counted.
No, so it leaves 5 slots.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
because
Redeemer's 14. Yeah.
If once the Centurions are out, they can hop in and run around if you need to, because there is the stuff to get back in.
Yeah.
Yep.
So once it's delivered its Centurions, it can play taxi for things, and it's got those big flamers on there. So I'm not sure how competitive this list is, if I'm honest. There's going to be some real hard counters to it.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, if you're just going to go on, it's just death by 1,000 cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you play an infantry heavy army, they're just going to be.
They're going to evaporate.
Really it's a skew list, possibly a gatekeeper skew list, maybe.
I think so.
And even against any kind of balance list, it should be fairly effective. Just again, because it's a weight of fire, lethal hits, chewing its way through things. It's going to get screwed over if it plays someone that's really heavy armor. So it's like heavy armor list or a knight list or something. It's going to be real problems. But as we've seen before, actually, even shooting at knights, heavy intercessors can occasionally do something.
That's true.
Remember, they're still wounding on essentially 4s.
So many heavy intercessors are going to get 2 shots each. Is that right?
No, 3, I think. Hang on, I'm just getting me thingy up to remind myself. So, range weapons.
The lethal hits on the intercessors would be useful against knights and armor. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you're right. It's 2 hits, 2 shots each.
So if you shoot them all at a knight, you're going to hit 10 shots, potentially hitting on 2s with Oath, which is about 10 hits if you do that. So you get 10 hits and you wound on 4s at AP1. So they save on 4s and you wound half the time and they fail half the time. So yeah, I mean, a squad of heavy intercessors actually probably do statistically like 5 damage to a knight. Now that's not super meaningful by itself, but there's nothing to say another unit of heavy intercessors can't shoot it because they've got great range, 30 inches, or your 40 bolter shots from the intercessors, that's going to chip at least a couple of wounds. So yeah, I mean, it's not like you're killing knights left, right, and center, but can you kill knights with this amount of bolter fire? The answer, I think, is yes.
Fair, if you need to start the Centurion Assault Squad footwalking on the board and put 2 of the 3 Eradicator squads in the Land Raider and have them rush forward and start shooting knights with the melters, they could put some pain on.
Yeah. And then 3 Eradicators at strength 10 is pretty horrendous.
When they re-roll all their hits and
when they re-roll all their hits, wounds and damage.
Yeah, and they get within melter range. Yeah, do you know what? I think you're fine against knights in this list. I mean,
I think I'd get spanked if I played someone that was too fast for me to shoot at. So if you like a really fast world eaters like this or something like that, that's going to get in the melee before I get around to shooting at it, I'm going to get spanked.
Yeah, I think I'd be more scared of like Angron than I would be of knights. Yeah. I think
I would be as well. But I just thought it's a different take on this this attachment that's very pigeonholed into what it does.
Yeah.
And I think it could be quite fun to play because everybody knows rolling lots of dice is fun.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
I don't think it's that competitive. Not in it. I wouldn't take this to a tournament or something, but I'd turn up to a game at my local shop.
I know you.
Like,
You would
like
take
Mark
it.
says, it's a bit of a gatekeeper list because
You might not take it to a tournament if you're aiming to win, but
No.
you would absolutely take it.
yeah, I probably would. I've taken more ridiculous things.
I like it.
So yeah, that's my really daft take on Firestorm, or as I've called it, Storm of Fire.
Excellent.
Clever. All right, Mark, you're next.
Am I?
Show us what we got.
As in the previous versions of these lists that I've done in this series, I start off with the Blood Angels Combat Squad, Combat Patrol box, because it's a box that a lot of Blood Angel players use to get started in the game. Or many people might be using to get started in the game, God knows. You can tell which ones are in the Combat Patrol box because they've got their size with the little red backing to it, so that shows you what comes in the Combat Patrol box. And in this one, I've decided to break the Sanguinary Guard out into 2 individual squads of 3 and just run them as basically harassers in this case. The Intercessors, I'm using Assault Intercessors with jump packs on the basis that you can scrounge up some jump packs just to beef them up with and use them as jump pack Assault Intercessors, because having those models is a very useful investment for any Blood Angel player in the long term. They're really, really good units, so they're definitely worthwhile having. And the captain I've built as a foot captain, not the Blood Angel one, because I think ideally I'd like to run him with either the plasma pistol or the Volkite pistol because of the 12-inch range rather than the Inferno, well, the 6-inch range. That synergizes a little bit better with the 5-man Inferno squad that the captain would be running with. Those 6 models in an impulsor together to run around, jump out, smoke some people with their strength 6 -1 flamers, because they'll always be within 12 inches because that's the range of the flamers they're carrying. The captain would be using his buff to reduce the cost of shooting with dev wounds with the turret weapons that they've got from 2 CP down to 1 CP, or firing with. No, there's absolutely no reason for them to do the other one. Fortunate Battle Enhancement, I gave him to use up some extra points because rolling the occasional 6 on a save is always nice and handy. I'll put the Infiltrators and Phobos Librarian in there because I still really value them. You can string them out to screen a backfield incredibly effectively with 6 of them. They don't have to be doubled up in size. You just spread them out and they can't be shot at unless you're really close to them, thanks to the Phobos Librarian. And I rounded them out with 3 Inceptors because the points were right for them. They're mobile, they're close range firepower, they're extremely useful for dropping in places and being annoying. And I figured that would be worth a go.
Can I just clarify? The captain cannot do the -1 CP thing when they're shooting from inside the repulsor. That is correct, right?
That is correct.
Yeah. So
they would have to jump out, then do it, and then use one of the strats maybe to get back in afterwards.
Yeah, the cool thing about the impulsor, which is a rule that not many people use, is the unit can disembark after the impulsor has advanced and still shoot. I actually didn't realize this, but that also counts for actions, right? So, like, if you've got a unit in an impulsor, the impulsor can move 12, advance, you can disembark, and that counts as a quote-unquote normal move, so you can still do an action, and that can be really meaningful when you're like, oh my god, I need to recover assets in the middle of the deployment zone, but I just can't get there in this turn. The impulsor is super useful for that. So that's cool.
Yeah. The first house of points, you got 4 or 5 units of fast jump infantry to fly around and annoy and harass. You got the Inferno squad to just shoot some stuff. And it's like an MSU army, I suppose, in that regard.
So I was umming and ahhing with the Inceptors because my first version, I put 3 squads of Inceptors in there, and I took them out. Because I was looking at the stats for them, and and maybe you've gone down it, but like the bonus to the strength, going from strength 8 to strength 9, just didn't seem that valuable. That was my logic.
That's fair.
Like I could see the use of going from strength 7 to strength 8 because that means you wouldn't need to overcharge them.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I was rummaging through, like, when you're sort of like scrolling through codex things. Like, what things am I like to fight? What are they? What toughness are they in that? And 8 and 9 doesn't seem to come up that much for me. I don't know if it does for you two.
Well, the other major benefit they bring is high AP values in shooting as well.
They absolutely do, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think Inceptors are great. I don't get me wrong, I genuinely think Inceptors are great.
They weren't a high priority pick for this list. They were a case of, I've got this many points. What would be in here and run reasonably well with everything else? That looks okay.
My mindset was going, what units would I want that could bring a lot of firepower close up and are hitting break points? So the +1 takes it over a break point.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Would the bolter inceptors be more interesting? Because
that's what I was wondering. Yeah, because strength 6 bolter inceptors.
I can see arguments for both.
Yeah, because if you're fighting like elite infantry, like 8 bounds or terminators, they're all like strength toughness 5 and 6, so the bolters might actually be slightly better there.
Maybe you might be right.
Maybe.
I don't know. It's a thought. It's not a criticism or a thing. It's because they were on my initial list of what did I want? Inceptors and Eradicators was the first thing that jumped to my head.
Like I say, Inceptors weren't a must pick in here. They were a filler option with the points that I had left and being the best fit at that time.
Okay. So how did you build this up to 2,000? I'm loving what I'm seeing with the double repulsor and Eradicators, by the way.
So initially, I was going to go 6 aggressors, apothecary biologist, and a land raider redeemer, and just do that. And then I thought, that's 600 pissing points.
Yeah.
Wow.
That combo has been hit so many times over and over again.
So I instead looked at what else can I put 6 Eradicators in, or 6 Gravis in. I know I can fit them in a repulsor instead. If I'm putting them in a repulsor, do I really want the biologist as well? Is the 70 points I'm putting in with that going to be much worth it? Because I'm not going to be moving and charging out there. If I'm going to be doing that, I want to focus on the shooting aspect instead. So let's put some Eradicators in for the high strength, exceptionally high strength, killing death units that they are. And at that point, again, having 70 points for biologists, lethal hits on Eradicators, is that really worth it?
I'm going to get enough shots.
Really. Auto with lethal hits on however many shots they have. They get to reroll the hits and the wounds and damage already, so it's kind of not benefiting that much. So 2 lots of 6 Eradicators, each in a repulsor, feels like a very nasty death ball driving at full speed towards your opponent straight away. It's
pretty horrendous.
Yeah, nobody wants to see that, really. Double up the speed, disembarking threat with a 2nd unit of Infernus and an Impulsor. Remove the enhancement because it was only really using up leftover points as well at the end. And put in a 3rd unit of Assault Intercessors with jump packs to jump around and harass and annoy people. And I felt you've got a fairly tasty, punchy, versatile, annoying list there.
So the question then, again, is you went with units of 6 Eradicators.
Yep.
Rather than just going little units of 3 like I did. What was your sort of like thought process of, I need all the melting?
I wanted to put something in that would absolutely annihilate the shit out of whatever I needed to. I could have done like a unit of 6 and 2 units of 3. That is also a configuration you could do with this if you wanted to. Yeah. But there's also nothing stopping you splitting fire from within the squad of 6 that's in there anyway.
So. Yeah, I did notice that they've got rid of that old rule that said you couldn't split fire with them, which I think is...
And if you want to jump something out of a transport or jump it back in on a transport, them all being 1 unit benefits the use of those stratagems a little bit more than them being 2 units. So yeah.
Because I was always concerned because I did think about going. I was thinking about a big unit and a little unit, and I kind of didn't because I thought it might be overkill. Like 6 Eradicators. What the hell needs 6 Eradicators to kill it? Was kind of my logic. And if it does, I'll just fire 2 small ones. But it's another one, like you say, it's much more efficient for stratagems. Getting +1 to wound on 6 of them at strength 10 is more efficient than getting it on 3.
2 squads of 3 shooting something is all well and good. Shooting 3 models at something, you might kill it. Shooting 6 of them at something, you're almost certainly going to kill whatever you're looking at, assuming that it's not horrific.
Cool.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think that the 6 usually is overkill. Usually if you try and split the fire with Eradicators, you that like it comes
Don't
back
think
to haunt
so.
you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because, like you said, if you have one round of bad hit rolls, one round of bad wound rolls, it's like, okay, only one Eradicator. Yeah,
You try and math it out in your head, and you think, right, I'm probably okay if I do 4 over here and 2 over there, and then the thing over here lives on 1 wound left, and you're like, why do I even do that?
Yeah. Happens way too often, doesn't it? That literally was what happened to me like 2 weekends ago. I left the Bloodthirster on 1 wound. The Bloodthirster, of course, has like 18 attacks and then does 8d6 mortal wounds at the end of combat. And I was like, you've got to be joking me. I left him on 1 wound. I could have charged him with another unit. Kill me, you know?
That sounds familiar, doesn't it, Tony? that assassin just did the last wound.
Oh, you like... Oh, I didn't have... Story
we
for
put
another
a lot
time,
of
I guess.
firepower into a Knight Lancer with like half our army, and it was left on like 3 wounds and then left on 1 wound. It's like, right, we got a Calidus assassin with no firepower to speak of. Can it plink the last wound off? Turns out, yes, it could.
Yes, it can. Very nice. Well, okay, well, I have contrasted... Oh, sorry, and you go.
No, go on. I was just saying I quite like this list.
Awesome,
I was going to say, I have contrasted you completely and gone for Disco Inferno. I even listened to that song on repeat while I was making the list.
I considered so much putting a Baal Predator or 2 in my list here. But again, I went back to another principle on previous versions of lists I've done, which is I don't want to recommend buying a Vindicator. I don't want to recommend buying a Baal Predator when there's a good chance it's going to get squatted.
I don't recommend buying Assault Centurions, but also they are cool.
Yeah,
they're cool.
I think you should buy them. I think they're going to go. But
yeah, Flame of Baals in this, absolutely. God, yeah, I can totally see why you've done them.
So yeah, I think just about everything has a flamer. So it was like the Captain and Gravis is going to be with 6 aggressors, so we can use the dev wounds, and they are twin linked on those flamers, so that will give me more 6s for dev wounds. We have a Redeemer to put the aggressors and the captain in. We've got the Baal Predator full of flamers, and then we've done the same neat little trick you've done with like the Impulsor with Inferno Marines inside. The only caveat with that is, and I guess we should just say it in case anyone's confused, you can't use the firing deck when you use Overwatch. So if like the Impulsor can move forward, everyone can flame, but if you're going to use Overwatch, then the flamers would not be shooting on the Impulsor. And then I just took a unit of battle line intercessors to sticky some objectives and have a hand flamer because they can.
Yeah, always got to mind the objectives.
When we go up to the 2,000 points, I added the Forge of Battle to the captain. It's good to get 6. I add Champion of Humanity to the Combi Weapon Lieutenant, which I forget what that does now. Excuse me.
That is the ignore any or all modifiers to characteristics or to any roll or test made for them.
While they're leading a unit.
Yeah.
Can the Combi Weapon Lieutenant lead a unit?
He can't lead a unit. He's lone op.
So that Champion of Humanity literally does nothing here then.
Okay. Did it say while leading a unit, did it?
Yeah,
while the bear is leading a unit.
Okay.
That is the deadest 10 points you've ever spent.
Well, you're right. The enhancements in this aren't that great.
True. I mean, it's great on something like if you'd have put that on a character leading Tony's heavy intercessors, for example.
Yeah.
They're shooting with damage 2. That overrides damage reduction powers. So their damage stat on their characteristic of gun could never be modified or altered.
I must have put them on it for a reason. Maybe I can't remember.
I think maybe if you ditched it and then upgraded the Forged in Battle to that one that's 25 points, I think it's a bit over thing, give him +3 strength, then you'd have a strength 11 Gravis captain in that unit of aggressors.
Oh yeah, that'd slap.
Okay, so there's definitely a tweak to be made there, but then I also did the second Land Raider Redeemer because we've got Crowler Firepowers, the second Baal Predator, 2 more units of Infernus Marines in 2 more Impulsors. And then going on that, I do have Blood Angels units, so I'm not getting the +1 to Oath. So I have that Thunderstrike as my 1 unit that's essentially not a flamer to give me +1 to wound. So my Baal Predators and Redeemers are going to try and get within 12 inches to get +1 strength. Then I'm going to get +1 to wound because the Thunderstrike's going to hit you, and I am going to try and Disco Inferno. I don't know how competitive this is. Go for it.
I have a question.
Yes.
So you got 3 Impulsors and 3 sets of 5 Infernus Marines, so they're going in there.
Yeah.
You've got 1 unit of 6 aggressors, and 2 Land Raider Redeemers. What's going in the second Land Raider?
It has to be the intercessors, or that is an empty transport. I don't think that's valid.
It's not a dedicated transport. You don't have to worry about that.
Okay, well then just the intercessors, I guess.
I was just wondering if you're paying points for the transport capacity on a second Redeemer that you don't really need.
I just took it because it's got a crap load of flamers, to be completely honest with you, and I thought
and you could put the intercessors in it, and 2 Redeemers are a lot scarier to try and kill than 1 Redeemer, which is also completely fair.
Well, I was thinking if the enemy has infantry, how are they going to be able to move them? Because they're just going to get, like, Overwatch threat is just everywhere. The trick would be obviously killing vehicles and monsters, and that's why the Thunderstrike's there, to try and give me +1 to wound when I have to deal with those. But like 6 aggressors with dev wounds on those flamers, I mean, it's 66 shots, right? And then it's reroll everything, so you would hope that like every time they shoot, they should do like 5 death wounds.
A few 6s, yeah.
Yeah. So I think maybe
Redeemer's got another trick up its sleeve, which is the thing that makes it absolutely amazing for me. And it's got grenade launchers on the front. You can use grenades on a Redeemer.
Oh, you can use grenades, yeah. And obviously the Redeemer can move and they can charge, and aggressors are pretty good in this detachment as well.
They hop out, shoot, and then charge. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Twin link fists.
I do like aggressors, and if I was playing my list sensibly, I'd ditch the assault force and replace them with aggressors because it's similar points.
Yeah,
but I'm not playing.
I actually don't know why this is considered such a bad detachment, because I was like, it probably is maybe just because people didn't have this level of flamers, right?
I think at the beginning people were saying that this was probably the strongest, or Ironstorm. It's just we just haven't seen it tip over that line.
Yeah. I think people in general seem to prefer a more cagey style of play, which this detachment does not lend itself to.
This is very aggressive, considering it's not a melee detachment.
Yeah, that's probably it. But I actually think, like, if you played World Eaters in this detachment, like, you'd just barbecue all of them, wouldn't you?
Good chance. Good chance.
I mean, I don't know. It feels a little bit like mine, and I don't know how actually competitive it is. I wouldn't want to take it to a tournament expecting to try and win something, but when your opponent turns up and starts to play, you're just like, oh yeah, here's all my flamers. There's a good potential they're going to have a really shit time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Especially that one guy who thought they'd have a fun time and bring an all-boys orc army or an all-little demons or a Tyrian swarm army. It's like, oh.
You're going to get wrecked, or you're going to wreck something. And
I told you, I played a game at a tournament where it was like a Gorkanaut and like 150 boys.
Yeah.
So this would have been perfect.
On this take against that, wouldn't it?
It would be indeed, wouldn't it? Yeah, so once again, we've managed to have 3 very different takes on the detachment, which is great because it gives you a wide array of things. Yeah. If you have been enjoying the video, remember to leave us a like, please.
And do let us know in comments what you think of each of the lists, any improvements you want to make, if you particularly like or dislike any of them, or think we've done like dog shit, let us know, and all that jazz. It'd be great to hear from you.
I'd have a lot of fun playing against your list, John, with my stupid list.
I think you'd win because I'd have to get up close.
Everyone just runs into the middle, sort of like away from each other. And then everything just is on fire and exploding.
Wow. Yeah. It wouldn't exactly be a finesse army, but it'd certainly be a fight.
There's like no tactics at all. It's just get away and open fire.
Do you know what? I actually have the models to run this list as well. Like, looking at it, I didn't realise that I did, but yeah, no, I actually do.
15 Infernus Marines?
Yeah, because I got 2 copies of Leviathan.
Ah, okay, fair enough.
They are the models there that are on sprue, but I could actually run this.
Nice.
I could run the list that I drew as well, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, although I've never run that many intercessors before.
No.
I can't. I don't own that many Eradicators, and I don't own any Repulsors.
No, you're right. I don't have that many Eradicators.
And I don't own any Impulsors yet either.
No, I don't know many people that own that many Eradicators, to be honest.
I think I've got... Well, no, Eradicators were popular for a while, weren't they?
Yeah. I've got 6, although I think I painted them up as Raven Guard. But
I've got 6. I've got the 3 that come in Indomitors.
The idea I had them as Raven Guard is because the strats for Raven Guard in 9th edition allow you to deep strike them, which is brilliant. Let's have some of that, yeah.
Oh, that was cool.
Do remember that.
Awesome. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also,
Very cool.
if you've got some thoughts or ideas on which detachment we should cover next, we'd love to hear from you as well.
Yeah, and if you've got some better ideas of how you could build a Firestorm list, please stick your armies and ideas in the comments below, because I love reading them, especially when it's not a normal take on a detachment. Because I think sometimes we're coming back to these detachments after what, 2 years?
Yeah,
about that.
It's fair to say we've not necessarily taken this super seriously
but
today.
I think
It'll be fun.
I think coming back to them after a couple of years, after a few more codexes and things like that, has been quite interesting, because a bit like with the Stormlance, I dismissed that the first time I looked at it as rubbish. And actually, when we went back to it, I thought, actually, there's some legs in this.
Yeah, it was definitely a good exercise doing the Stormlance one, I must say.
So I think there could be some legs in this, and it doesn't necessarily mean only bring flamers, although you can just bring flamers and have something bananas like John, which would be awesome.
Yeah.
You know, I played at the tournament I was just at against like 150 guardsmen list. I would have loved to play those 150 guardsmen with as many flamers.
I think you're still suffering from PTSD. That's why you wrote that list. Was it crazy? Smashed by a guard list that was doing that respawning units thing.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about me getting drawn against stupid guard lists at tournaments. It just keeps happening.
Infinite infantry.
Would you preferred a super heavy tanks list and damage reducing dreadnoughts heavy list? Would that have been preferable for you?
Well, the guardsmen with that bridgehead detachment mark are obscene, because they can get like rapid fire 3 on their plasma guns, and then they can just deep strike everywhere within 6 inches of you. So, and they get +1 to wound on the turn they deep strike, and they get reroll hits on the turn they deep strike. It's obscene.
See, that's why you want infiltrators, mate.
Yeah,
with a Phobos Libby, just to screen everything out.
Yeah. I've just got my hands on the new guard codex, so I'm going to start going through that shortly.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
I'm quite excited by, because that looks strong. I've been saying that guard are one of the sleeper strong armies of 10 since we started, and I still maintain that.
This one's supposed to have a bit of a Krieg focus, is it, or something?
Well, it's got the box set is Krieg, but the units is just kind of it's guard.
Usual guard units.
It's like the last codex was all Cadian, which means I'm hoping that finally to get some new catechins, because they're the best.
Yeah, that'd be good.
So sorry, I just pre-ordered the Eldar Codex. That's coming this weekend.
Yep.
Oh yeah, because you're an Eldar collector as well now, aren't you?
I am indeed. Yes.
It's not coming this weekend. It's coming next weekend. 2-week pre-order period. So the pre-orders went live last week.
Okay.
So you're not going to be able to get hold of it until a week tomorrow. Not week tomorrow. Week 2 days from now, as of time of filming.
Did you buy any of the new models? Either of you? Because I know you both bought the new codex.
Yes. I bought Warp Spiders and the character that leads them.
Lycus,
the Phoenix Lord.
It's a very cool model. I'd love to paint that.
The model looks good, and the rules are a bit batshit as well. So that's very cool.
Yeah. Well, when it arrives, maybe we'll have a look at it and do an Eldar episode. We haven't done one.
I've pre-ordered the codex as well. I've spent about £100 on Eldar stuff. I've pre-ordered the codex. I've pre-ordered a unit of fire dragons.
Yeah.
Because I love fire dragons. They're back from when I first started in the 90s. They're just some of the earliest models I had, and I want some more fire dragons. And apparently they're really good now as well, because they're basically lighter eradicators, but with the same sort of level of firepower output, which is awesome. And I bought Baharoth as well, the new Phoenix Lord model, because his pose and his wings are absolutely stunning and gorgeous. And I'm going to need to get some new swooping hawks to go with them.
I've never really collected Eldar. I've had the odd ones every now and again, but I'll tell you what, this new release, those models, all of them just looked so good.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I was very tempted just to get them to paint. But I never have to paint anyway, so...
That's fair. I also dusted off all my current Eldar collection back here and streamlined what I'd got and took new account of it and everything. So I've ordered the Imperium magazine, or whatever the current part work thing is that's going on. There's an issue in March that comes with 2 Windrider jet bikes for a tenner.
Oh, nice.
Which is just below half priced standard GWRRP. So I've ordered 6 copies of that magazine.
Nice.
For 2 units of 6 Windriders, because one of the Eldar detachments that you can get allows you to have Windriders as battle line.
That's pretty cool. So it's the one that lets me have Wraithguard as battle line.
There is.
There you go.
There is one that lets Wraithguard and Wraithblades be battle line. You're absolutely right.
Shut up and take my money. Hang on, where's my wallet? Right,
It's basically Xenos and Terminator armor. That's why you like that, isn't it?
That's exactly what it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Also, the Spirit Seers, which are like their versions of Tech Marines,
Yep.
they used to have to join their units in order to buff them. Now they're like Tech Marines in that they hang around nearby. Their buffs are like auras to affect all Wraith units near them, and if they're within 3 inches of a Wraith unit, they get Lone Op. So they're very much like Tech Marines these days in how they work.
I actually didn't realise, but I actually got an Eldar for Christmas this year.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
Maybe I will join you.
Very nice.
I think my mum got very excited. She saw it on Amazon and had to buy it. So God knows how much to pay because the prices on there are wild.
Oh yeah, Amazon prices are wild for 40k. Yeah.
Is that a Shadowseer? Let's have a look and see if that's any good.
They're out of stock. You can't buy them at the moment. So I thought about putting it on there and selling it again.
Wow. A lot of the Eldar stuff on the official GW website is out of stock right now. Like over half the range is
I
out
wonder
of
if
stock
it's because
right
it's all being reboxed.
now. No, it's just a huge amount of massive interest in it at the moment off the back of the models. I expect. Plus the fact where is this? What was it called? The Shadowseer.
Shadowseer.
Where are the rules for you stupid blimmin' Harlequin weirdo?
I've still got a box of metal Harlequin somewhere as well. A Harlequin
wow.
drill.
I can't find you. Why can't I not find you? Because I'm looking in the wrong place. That's why I can't find you. Let's very quickly.
How
See
good
The rules might
There
be
we go.
getting changed
Shadowseer.
literally in the next codex, though, right?
What's going to change?
Her rules are probably going to change in the codex.
I'm looking at the new codex.
Just in the new
Oh,
one.
are you? Okay.
So Shadowseer gives them Lone Op. So he joins a unit. They can't be shot at unless you're within 18 inches.
Nice.
And melee weapons equipped by enemy models have the hazardous trait while attacking his unit.
It's a bit random.
That's horrendous if he goes into a unit of assault intercessors.
Oh god, so you
Yeah, that
can't
is
shoot
true.
him unless you're really, really close. And if you're close and in melee with him, then every time you attack him, you...
Yeah. Can you imagine? Assault intercessors get so many attacks, they've got a good chance of killing themselves.
Oh,
They have to roll
brilliant.
for
More
each.
damage than
Surely they
kills.
just roll for, like, they have a chainsword, so they would just roll one dice for the chainsword, right?
Yeah. But every single one would have to do it.
Yeah. It's rough.
That's great. I love that. Excellent. Anyway, right, we should probably pay attention.
Move on.
to
Right. What are we looking at?
stuff. That is a good
I think
question.
I'm
Well,
up first, and I
Yeah.
have been painting this week. Believe it or
Awesome.
not.
We've got a jump captain, we got a captain, we got a lieutenant, we got a Sangard, we got a Sanganor.
Yeah, I bought the Sanguinor this week because he's really good in that Angelic Inheritors Detachment.
Mhm.
I started painting
What makes him so good in that?
just reroll hits the wounds of 1 all the time.
Okay.
Because he hits on 2s and he's got dev wounds and he's got like 8 attacks. Adds a bunch of reliability to him. And he can also go back into Deep Strike, even if he's in engagement range for 1 CP at the end of the fight phase.
Oh, very nice.
Be handy, yeah.
So, I think he's really good in that detachment, much better than he is in Liberator Assault Group, because obviously the problem with Liberator Assault Group is when he intervenes, he doesn't count as charging, right? He doesn't care in that detachment, just rerolls hits and wounds all the time. Started working on the combi weapon lieutenant in the middle. I gave him one of those new Sangre Guard helmets to try and make him a little bit different. And the captain to his left is the captain from the combat patrol, and he's using that Crimson Lord head that has the half metal face, like Tycho.
Tycho.
So this is
I think you should have positioned him slightly differently, so he was standing right in front of the Tycho in the display case behind him.
Yeah, I should have actually.
You missed
Yeah.
a trick there.
Maybe. Yeah.
But I mean, I just threw them on there last night when I got done painting, because I hate playing on stream with grey models, and last week when I played, half of these guys were grey, so I was just trying to get them battle ready as soon as humanly possible so I can start playing with them.
Captain that you've sort of built there got 2 axes.
Yes,
Looks like it.
he does have 2 axes because, I mean, he'll probably just have a
It's your
pistol.
guard, and you can plant date trees if you want to.
Exactly. It'll be like, I'll have a relic weapon and a flamer on him. That's how I ran him last week anyway. So relic weapon is the axe and the flamer's in his pocket or his pouch, whatever you know. I'm kind of done with trying to make my stuff WYSIWYG. I went to a GT the other week, and honestly, no one cares. Like, before the GT, I literally had a Vindicator Laser Destroyer, and before every match, I said to my opponent, this is the Laser Destroyer model, Games Workshop have legends that I'm just using it as a regular Vindicator. Nobody cared.
Ever since GW did the whole thing in 10th edition where they stopped making people pay points for upgrades, everybody stopped giving the tiniest shit about WYSIWYG. And it's just like, it's not fair to expect everybody to buy new models and crack them off and replace them and change everything all over again. So
I think as long as you're clear with your opponent, if the gun doesn't match or the weapon doesn't match or something, but honestly, none of
obvious who's got what. So all of your power fists are power fists. You know, you don't say all the power fists are chainsaws except this one that is a power fist and this sort of stuff. You know.
Yeah.
You don't try and take the piss.
But like my laser destroyer, I've actually played more as a regular Vindicator than I have as a laser destroyer.
Yeah, me too. So I need to spray the Sanguinar this weekend, hopefully. So he's not going to be grey if I field him next week. And I need to beat a few more
given
colours.
that he's a warp entity rather than the sort of like the other wings you've got, which are like material wings that have been put into the Artificer armour, are you going to do anything special or weird with his wings when you paint them? Or with him as the model?
I hadn't planned to, honestly. I just have the standard way that I do wings with like grey and then a white dry brush and then a wash or whatnot. So
you should probably have the demon keyword now I think about it.
Yeah, I changed his head out.
I feel like you should, yeah.
I didn't use the head that came with him. I used the head from that captain on the left because I really didn't like the head that the Sanguinar came with.
I thought it looked okay in person, having sprayed it, but
I really dislike the new Sanguinars, but so I still significantly prefer the old one that from the old books that Darren Nathan painted and that. I just don't like the head. He looks like an extra from Planet of the Apes, and I can't get over the fact that somehow he's been Primarist. He's a fucking warp entity. I can't. I know you're like, oh well, you know, he's a reflection of people's nonsense. He fucking isn't. He's a sanguinary guard who got sucked into the warp. It actually happened. He's a person. He should be wearing fucking heresy armor. None of this shit. Oh, we don't know who he is. We do know who he is. There's a book.
We do. That's true. You do have an old Sanguinar, right, Tony?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
I've got the old Sanguinar. I'm not buying that new one because I think it's shit.
Well, do you know what? Once I realised the new one was on a 40mm base, I was super... I thought he was going to be like a big scenic base like Dante. When I realised the new one's on a 40mm base, I would have been like, shit, I wish I'd just known that because I'd have just glued my old one to 40mm base and been done with it.
I just put him on a bigger base.
Yeah.
I didn't even base extender him. I put the old base on a bigger base and textured it a bit because
that's what...
it was a bit taller.
Yeah, that's what I did with my my avatar model because my avatar model is not a legit avatar. It's an AOS model, but it's on a small, tiny base. Yeah. So when that happened and the new one came out with a bigger base, I bought other bases to stand it on instead. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the texture paint on it and sculpt it so it looks like lava is kind of running down this little hill that he's standing on top of or something like that.
No, that's dope. I love it. Yeah, I mean...
that is called an avatar, you know.
What?
I think it was an avatar because it was off the old Altar of Blood.
The Age of Sigmar altar thing. Yeah, it's a statue of Cain. It's not the avatar of Cain.
Well, I think they called it that or something. Maybe it might be old Warhammer Fantasy or something. But I'm sure I remember them calling it that.
It's definitely like a statue of
the bloody hand. It was on the Altar of Blood.
Yeah.
Because I was an old school Warhammer Fantasy Dark Elf player.
Oh, that's an AO. I'm fairly sure it's a Sigmar model, not a old world model.
No, I think it might have been an old world one. I think it might have been an old world one.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
It had a lot of spikes on it that I cut off because I didn't want it to look very Dark Eldari. But either way,
or Dark Elfy in this case.
Yeah, exactly. Cool, awesome. What we got next? We got me. So hobby-wise, what have I been doing since last? So not a lot. I used my £10 Games Workshop voucher that they sent the email to a bunch of people over Christmas to get £10 off a Tech Marine. And I bought a Tech Marine because I didn't have one of the new Tech Marines. I only had one Firstborn Tech Marine. And it's a really cool model. I absolutely adore it.
Beautiful model. I love
it. So good. I've gone for the pose where the servo arm is mimicking the actual arm. Yeah. I've changed the shoulder pads. It's got a Blood Angel shoulder pad because why not? And I changed the head because I don't really like the new heads as much as I like the old Mark 7 heads in a way. And I also wanted one that had a scope on it so I could have the head looking in a direction where the
that looks like one of the ones
and have the heavy bolt the same way. Yeah.
Is that one off the vehicle sprue or the Devastator sprue?
Might be one of the two. It might be.
I think it was like
bike
Devastator,
one, to be
yeah.
honest. God knows.
Yeah. Very
No,
cool.
it's
I
cool.
really like that model. I had such a blast painting it.
I want to get a second one and pose it in different ways, so it uses the different arm configuration with the pistol. I'm going to rotate the axe hand, so the axe is at a different angle and looks slightly different in that way. But yeah, that's what I've been doing hobby-wise in terms of Games Workshop stuff. I've still been playing a lot of Star Wars Unlimited cards because it's great having cards that I can buy and open and put in a deck and play with, rather than have to build and paint and build a list with, and then suddenly they've been neutered and balanced data sheet out of competitivity.
Unless you're a Boba Fett player, and
honest,
then of course your Boba Fett was balanced data shaded out of.
Indeed. I've got a tournament happening in just over a week at Element Games in Stockport, where they're running a planetary qualifier with a cap of I think 128 players, and I've decided that I'm not going to run Sabine. I'm going to do something bloody stupid.
Go on then. Who are you running?
I'm going to run Thrawn.
Oh, cool. Do you know what? Thrawn suits your like demeanor. I feel like you're like,
you've always liked your Thrawn deck more.
I have. Yeah. I've got props to Thork. Thork is a really good Star Wars Unlimited content creator, French chap living in the Republic of Ireland, top guy. He's done a couple of really good videos on running Thrawn in the current Star Wars Unlimited meta environment. And the deck is actually really punchy using some new set 3 cards. I'm really looking forward to giving it a go. I hope I don't slow play too badly. I also don't really care if I win or lose, especially, so I'm just going in to have a laugh and play some Thrawn and rustle up some people. Very cool. Yeah, hopefully that'll be some fun.
Yeah, I like it. So I've done largely fuck all. I finished building a few things. I built another Telemon.
I noticed you've got your carriage on a 2-tiered base thing going.
I have. So if people remember on the New Year's stream, I built the most annoying model that I think I've built in so many years, and it was my original Warhammer Fantasy metal black coach. Mm-hmm. It was an absolute nightmare. It took me all night to build, and I still have problems with it because once I built it, it turns out that the legs are too long for the coach's wheels.
So it doesn't sit flat. The coach is meant to be higher,
but there's no way in the box of making the coach higher because this was old school GW. Where you've got like basically no instructions.
Mm. So you meant to like bend the metal for the reins or something?
Then that wouldn't look right because this would be not straight and all this sort of stuff. So what I've actually done is, I know it's obvious now, but it won't be when it's finished. Is I've built a 2-tiered base. So I built that up in Fusion on the CAD, and then I 3D printed a 2-tier base to raise the coach up slightly higher than the other bit. Then I've put these kind of resin gravestones and that.
Yeah.
And like the odd spears and things like that. So when I base this, you'll cover up the seams and cover up the 2-tierness because this will be riding through a graveyard at night, sort of thing. Which I think will be cool.
That will be very awesome.
So I've spent way too much time working on that.
Mm-hmm. But you've had fun though.
I had fun. / hated every second of it. It was horrible. I hate working battle. I forgot how annoying it was. I did another Telemon because what I need is more Telemons at the moment. They're still not that good, but they're just very irritating. The fact that they move 10 now is quite amusing as well.
And they still look pretty awesome.
Yeah, they're moving the same speed as bikes. God. Boom, 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 boom. You know, bumbling around. And in that detachment, you can give them a feel no pain. What else have we doing? I'm painting this for somebody. This is a pretty rare miniature, actually. This is a larger scale, or scaled up.
Let's be fair here. You're painting this for one of our Patreon backers.
I'm painting this for one of our Patreon. Yeah. And it came with the Kickstarter that Catalyst Games did recently for Clan Invasion or something for BattleTech. And because they buggered it up so much, they put in a bonus special miniature for everybody who backed the big boxes. So I'm going to paint that up for him. What else have I got to be doing?
Look very cool.
This one is one of my rare 3D printed miniatures. This is for Trench Crusade, which has been getting a lot of press lately. Had a very successful Kickstarter. and I joined in the Kickstarter, and I got some models from it, and I want to build a little Trench Crusade warband because it looked gross, and I kind of like the kind of evil look for that. I know there's a little bit of controversy about it, but I don't care. There's a little bit of BattleTech there that I did because I had some BattleTech models that I felt like painting, and some random like scattering shit.
Yeah.
So like, I got from some box or another like a vending machine. I don't know what I'm going to do with the vending machine, but I thought, why not? I'm going to paint that. And some control panels. The vampire that's going to go eventually in the black coach.
Oh, inside it.
Cool.
Okay, yep.
But the thing is that you're not really supposed to. You can't paint it once it's in there.
No, of course you can't.
And the thing is, it comes with a lid, which I realise I've forgotten to spray. If you put the lid on, you can't see the vampire.
Yeah, I don't know why it comes with a lid, really.
So I've decided that what I'm going to do is paint the vampire, the lid, and the coach separately, and then depending on the mood takes me whether I'm going to have the lid on, lid off, or vampire in or vampire off. I've now got a changeable black coach. So I haven't really done an awful lot of painting. I've done bugger all.
But you're prepared to start painting, and that can be half the battle.
Yes, but I've done a fair bit of building of things. I really want to get that Telemon done because I want to try running a triple Telemon custodes list with that Grots detachment.
Jeez, okay.
How
would that do against your Firestorm detachment?
It'd be horrendous because they've all got -1 damage. Yeah, and a 4-up invuln save. And 2-up armor.
I was going to say, and Telemons have quite a lot of toughness, right?
Yeah, and quite a lot of wounds as well. So my Dreadnought heavy custodes list would probably rinse that army that I bought. Again, it's also not very good because although the Grots detachment I think is fun, I think it's particularly competitive. But it just brought a bit of fun back, which made me want to play custodes again because I really haven't enjoyed playing with them in 10th.
Yeah, you've been very down on them.
So that's exciting. So yeah, that's all I have done. It's basically just building and priming a load of random shit. And I think my black coach is going to look cool when it's finished. I'm quite chuffed with the kind of graveyard thing that I'm going with there.
I mean, I think the black coach looks great right now for an old metal model. Like it's sprayed.
Absolutely.
It's come up really well just with the undercoat.
Yeah. So I was trying out a new undercoat actually for this, which only nerds are going to care about. But I normally just rattle
one of those watching this. Absolutely. Go.
I normally rattle can everything, but I've got this. So this is the Scale 75 Surface Primer. So it's ultra matte primer. And usually I use a kind of satin primer or even a gloss primer for doing metallics. But I thought I'd give it a go. It's got a really weird texture to it. It's ultra matte and it's quite delicate, which is making me a little bit nervous for a primer, but it's got a cool finish to it.
No, it does look great.
So
I wonder if you were going to, let's say you were going to be trying, quote unquote, lazy and do a lot of dry brushing over this. It would be very interesting, actually.
It's got enough texture to it because of its such ultra matte finish that I think it would take dry brushing really well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Slap chop.
What made you choose to try this then?
Why not?
Fair enough. I thought you might have had a particular goal in mind. Or
no, not really. I just I bought all of this surface primer. I thought I'd give it a go.
Yeah.
Because cool. I'm a bit of that sort of nerd, and when I see a sort of like a paint range or a paint that I've not tried before, and I'll often just sort of like stick it in there to give that particular one a go. So I've got loads of kind of I own one off this brand paint just to give it a go, or one I tried a primer brand that I'd never even heard of, and it turned out to be shite. I can't remember the name of it now, but I wouldn't have known that, or it could have been really good. So you sort of find out as you go along, don't you?
Yeah.
You really should see if there's any way when the time comes you can make it to the Games Expo in Birmingham in June or July.
Yeah, I'd really like to
go around all the random painty, stally, weird stuff things that they've got because there's halls full of it.
I have a lot of fun playing with these kind of new and interesting kind of techniques and toys and things like that. You know, I sent you guys the AK pencils for Christmas.
Oh yeah, because
I think the pencils are absolutely game changing. They're so easy to use, and it's just like, oh, I need to highlight that. Boop, done. It's so quick, and if you're going to do something, especially like Death Company and things like that, which are black armored, nobody can be asked to highlight all those edges. But you just like, there we go, done, and it looks amazing. Such a great product. Wouldn't have known if I hadn't bought it.
Yeah, that's fair. or somebody recommend it to you one way or the other. Yeah,
absolutely. So if people have got weird products that they think are amazing, let me know in the chat in the comments because I'll buy them.
especially for hobby stuff. Yeah. Gotcha.
You're not just in general. Like,
I mean,
Yeah,
if you start recommending to me interesting marital aids or something like that, I'm probably not going to go down that road. But
yeah,
beers you might be all right with, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, hobby products, sure, absolutely.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah, on that note, I think we are done. So what we're going to be telling people to watch next then, John?
Well, I think I did remember this week to put in the thumbnail of last episode, so it's there.
Yes.
It's our episode on the Storm Ants Task Force. If you like this one, you get very similar enjoyment from our previous video in this series.
Or
the Storm last one.
Yeah,
I think we were a bit
just
more
hear us
spot.
talk a whole load of shit, because that's kind of our thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope you got something out of it. If you did, remember to like, subscribe, support us on something or other, and we will catch you all on the next video.
Yeah, once we've decided what we're going to do, we have a list. It'll be fun.
Alton might be fun.
Cool. Thanks for watching, guys.
We're going to do.
Later.
We need to finish these attachments, but we need to talk about Eldar. You're absolutely right. Okay, we should do this. Cheers, bye.